Hello there. As you can see, we all have a very clear moral duty to report crime to the police. Now, it just so happens that I myself have witnessed some of the most heinous and disgusting crimes ever committed in UK criminal history. And I say this because I myself was the victim of them. Quite simply because I was struggling with cancer, I was the victim and therefore witnessed firsthand a lot of the corruption, violence and murder attempts happening surrounding this scam. And of course the nature of these crimes is very clearly the most heinous, cowardly and spineless type of crime, I believe, happening in the UK at the moment. Quite simply for this reason. They're taking cancer patients who are being literally forced on a quest for cures by the illness itself. We either face the possibility of losing our face or we find a cure. It's as simple as that. And what's happening is these patients are being literally routinely beaten, either within an inch of their life or beaten to death, but certainly to the point of nearly being dead. I think the correct expression is within an inch of their life. And as I say, this is happening on a routine basis, and the only thing we don't know is how many result in an actual murder, how many attacks. We know they're happening on a daily basis, but what we don't know is how many result in an actual murder and how many times it's happening per day, per week. How many of these attacks are occurring, per month. Now, as I've just suggested, this is the most heinous and disgusting, spineless kind of crime happening in the UK at the moment. Quite simply because it very clearly appears to be ignored by the police, which is, as I say, this is, something I've witnessed firsthand, so I can tell you this is the most depraved and heinous crime I have ever seen in my lifetime. It happened to me. An attempted murder on a cancer patient like this, literally dragging a cancer patient with a tumour in their head and trying to beat them to death, quite simply just to perpetuate this awful scam, which is obviously with a view to mutilating people like so. And very clearly there is no other intention, or no other purpose to this violence other than to make sinus cancer much more deadly than it needs to be, and ramp up the disease into something far more dangerous, with a view to obviously causing maximum damage. And it's, this is what the intention is, to cause this sort of damage to people in order to raise maximum funds and maximum profit. Because, this is how you get people to pull out their wallets and part with their cash. And they've known this for thousands of years. So, what I rumbled, which was only accidentally, is a culture of violence upon cancer patients, which, as I say, constitutes some of the most heinous and spineless crimes I myself have ever witnessed. Now, when you look at the motive behind this and the money that they're making, then we have to ask ourselves, how do they manage to perpetuate this? How are they managing to sweep so much crime under the carpet? Because if you have a look at this website that we just referenced at the beginning here, it says this is Ask the Police. It says very clearly that there is a moral duty on every one of us to report crime to the police. Now, if we have a look at the Crown Prosecution website, they tell us something slightly different. That they tell us that you may well be feeling upset and have doubts about reporting crime, but there is no legal obligation to contact the police. They keep telling us that reporting crime can prevent further crime, but they don't tell us there is a moral obligation to report crime. If you read through this first paragraph, they are very careful not to say there is a moral duty to report crime. So what we notice here is a distinctly different explanation when it comes to just reporting a crime. Ask the Police say one thing, that you have a moral duty. Crown Prosecution tell us there is no moral duty. And the indication is there that these people running the Crown Prosecution Service have been infiltrated by the cancer charity scam. In other words, the people running this scam have made so much money, they have infiltrated the Crown Prosecution Service, and obviously with the specific intention of covering up all the crimes as and when they arrive. Just like paedophiles that work in the police. Every time a report of paedophilia happens, the top cops just get all the reports and throw them in the bin. And the specific purpose, of course, of the collusion between cancer research and the CPS appears to be very clear. That they will consistently sweep all this crime under the carpet in order to maximise their profits and maximise their damage, which basically results in more of this, these attacks upon vulnerable patients such as myself, being routinely subjected to the most brutal, ferocious attacks in order to suppress cures, cause the maximum damage, leave patients in the dark, terrorise the living daylights out of them, let the disease run its course, and obviously, become far more deadly and dangerous than it needs to be, with a view to, as I say, causing the maximum damage, which is something that, very clearly constitutes, I think, what the most cowardly and heinous type of crime, most spineless form of attack that is possible, quite clearly. I mean, if we are launching regular attacks, on the victims of cancer, like this, who are struggling with the disease, already in a state of torture and misery, and literally subjecting them to brutal beatings and quite simply to hide cures, then we have a very, very serious problem. And if the Crown Prosecution Service are working in cahoots with cancer charities in order to cover up all this crime and escalate it, then we are literally in the grip of a huge wave of terrorism here. This is not happening abroad, this is happening on our own doorstep. And what seems clear to me now is that everybody watching this video has a moral duty now to report this to the police. This is a crime in progress, it's as simple as that. And as I suggest to you, one man on his own is very unlikely to be able to bring down this scam single-handedly, which then suggests that, as I say, it's about time that other people got on board with me and took into their own hands, this moral duty to report crime, with a view to, as I say, either sending an email or calling the police and telling them that you are not happy about what you've seen in this video. You can very clearly see that all the evidence I have presented constitutes what is the most heinous, cowardly crimes happening in Britain at the moment, representing corruption that reaches right to the heart of the criminal justice system. And very clearly, if something is not done about this, then we could personally become the next victim, and or any member of our family or friends. And with a view to the fact that this is obviously connected to other scams in progress at the moment, such as the virus scam, providing inspiration, for making viruses and bioweapons, and such things like that, and the Epstein scandal that's going on at the moment. All this sort of high-level white-collar crime is all connected, obviously. And as I say, one person's not going to end this single-handedly. So if anyone watching this video can help me out here and remind the police that, or the Crown Prosecution Service, more to the point, that we all have a moral duty to report crime. And as I say, you are not happy about what you've seen, you're not happy about the fact that this is being ignored, with a view to just perpetuating it, and you're not happy about this escalation of terrorism, that's medical terrorism, that's happening, literally nationwide, which you could soon become a victim of, then I think it's, yes, therefore, every reason for everybody, watching this video to make an effort to inform, call the police, send them an email just to let them know that we're not happy about this. We want to see an end to this, with a view to quite simply improving the state of our criminal justice system, eradicating this corruption, and putting the whole country on a much safer, saner path, which, yes, obviously, does not include this the most cowardly and disgusting way of treating vulnerable patients. And on that note, I'll thank you very much for watching and look forward to an improvement in the near future.